Welcome to the world of Doctor Who, the Time Lord that explores the galaxy while on his time-traveling adventures. Welcome to the world of the longest-running science fiction series in history, with your co-hosts Susan Backstrom, David Grunt, Matthew Rose, Tom Diamond, and Craig Johnson. They explore the classic series from its humble beginnings in 1963 and tracking through time to every episode up to the current day. This is the Doctor Who retrospective, where a legend will never die.
Hello and welcome to the True License podcast. Tonight we're discussing a double bill. We're doing the Planet of the Giants and the Dalek invasion of Earth. So what's everyone been up to lately?
Well, I have begun writing my new blog, which I will be posting new stories every other month. And next week will be my first story called A Vampire Tale, called Let the Blood Flow. So I'm excited about this. So yay, let the vampires ride the earth once again.
And apologies, I should have introduced you, Marios, as well. So welcome.
That's okay. I'm Marios and I'm a big fan of Doctor Who. So much so, I am a big Ace fan. So if nobody knows, I love Ace.
I don't know if you know, but Forbidden Planet are doing the Ace patch now for $24.99.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to have to put it on my
huge...
satchel. I've got to put it on my satchel. It's going to be the one.
It's a big one.
And
how about yourself, Ramona? Welcome, Ramona.
Hi, my name is Ramona. I'm a Doctor Who fan since about 1984. Trying to keep cool in Hartford, Connecticut here, and I'm enjoying fresh courgette and summer squash out of my garden.
Oh yeah, because you've got the veg patch, haven't you? Yeah, my auntie's got a veg patch in Potter's Bar. She does all the vegetables and seeds, and she's never short of fruit and veg.
It's good to have fresh vegetables in the spring and summertime.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Craig?
Yeah, myself, I'm good. I've got an exhibition on the private launch parties tomorrow. If you're in North London, if you're in the Archway or Highgate area, it's at Lauderdale House. It's at 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. It's a free entry event with refreshments available. You can bring guests, and it's the annual photography competition, and there's 110 different artists who are showing alongside myself and some of my mum's photography. And then it's open, I think, check. You'll have to check the website for Lauderdale House for different opening dates, but it will run right through till mid-August. And then I've just been looking after my mum. I've been at the hospital for most of A&E, most of last week for hours on end, but because she's been a bit poorly. But apart from that, good. I've been watching. I watched Hatchie, A Dog's Tale, which is a true story based on the little dog. Very sad movie. And then after that, I had to cheer myself up and I watched Cocaine Bear. So anyway, this brings us to Planet of the Giants. So we'll cut to the trailer and we'll be right back.
This is Synopsis for Doctor Who, Planet of the Giants, airing the 31st of October to the 14th of November 1964, and this is the beginning of Season 2. Despite indications of a malfunction in the TARDIS, its fault locator shows nothing is wrong and that it is safe to go outside. The First Doctor, Ian Charleston, Barbara Wright, and Susan Foreman consequently explore the vicinity, find the remains of a giant earthworm and ant, which appear to have died instantaneously. travelers realize they have returned to Earth but have shrunk to the height of an inch. Ian investigates the interior of a discarded matchbox when it is picked up by a government scientist called Pharaoh, who is visiting a callous industrialist named Forrester to tell him that his application for a new insecticide called DN6 has been rejected as it is far too deadly to all forms of insect life. News of this appraisal prompts Forrester to finally shoot Harold. The doctor, Barbara, and Susan hear the gunshot and head for the house to find Ian unhurt near Pharaoh's corpse. Forrester's aide, Smithers, arrives but does not report the murder for fear of undermining the DN6 project to which he has dedicated his life. Ian and Barbara hide inside Pharaoh's briefcase to avoid being stepped on by Forrester and Smithers, and get separated from the doctor and Susan after the briefcase is brought inside the house. The doctor and Susan climb up a drain pipe to find them. Forrester alters Pharaoh's report to give support to the DNA6 license application, and disguising his voice as Pharaoh's, makes a supportive phone call to the ministry to the same effect. This is overheard by the local telephone operator, Hilda Rose, and her policeman husband, Bert, who suspects something is wrong. Within the house, Ian and Barbara encounter a giant fly, which is killed instantly when it contacts sample seeds that has been sprayed with DN6. Barbara has handled one of these seeds and begins to feel unwell. The doctor, realizing the toxic nature of DN6 and probable contamination of Barbara, proposes they alert someone by hoisting up the giant telephone receiver, but they cannot make themselves heard. At the telephone exchange, the engaged signal makes Hilda and Bert increasingly concerned. Bert heads over to the house to investigate. The doctor and his companions decide to attract attention by starting a fire, succeeding in maneuvering an aerosol can into the flames of the Benson burner's gas outlet. This coincides with Smithers discovering the true virulence of the DN6 and demanding Forrester ceases his license application. In the lab, the makeshift bomb explodes in Forrester's face as PC Ross arrives. Back in the TARDIS, the Doctor succeeds in returning his craft and crew to normal size, a process which cures Barbara of her afflictions by DN6. And that's the synopsis of Planet of the Giants, Doctor Who, the beginning of Season 6, which aired on the 31st of October to the 14th of November, 1964. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Literary License Podcast. Tonight we're reviewing The Planet of the Giants from 1964. And let's have an open house. So what are your opening thoughts, guys?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's the first time I've actually seen this in a very long time, because the last time I saw it was on the old VHS tape, which I couldn't believe it. I found last week in the back of my shed at home at my parents'. And I was going to take a photo of it, but I totally forgot. But anyway, I liked it because it was just the three of them to begin with, right at the beginning of the actual episode, and they didn't separate until a bit later on, maybe in the second episode. So all the first episode, they were all there together, and I've never seen that in Doctor Who before. I mean, they always wander off, but because they were so tiny people, they had to stick together as well, and I really liked that.
The three episodes was just the right length, I think, for this, because they must have been really tied because of the production costs for the large items and stuff. That must have been one of the reasons why it was a free episode. It was inspired by Rachel Carson's 1962 environmental science book Silent Spring, which I didn't realize. Because there's me thinking this is what Ant-Man and the Borrowers have nicked.
I love the Borrowers. That was a great book.
Yeah.
And it reminded me so much so of Land of the Giants as well.
Yeah.
When they land on Earth, and it's not their Earth, but they literally miniaturized somehow. And it was a great way for them to find out how to get back and what they needed to do to get there as well. But there's a whole other mystery that surrounds it as well.
Because the giant ants were from BBC stock. So they had a really fun time finding enlarged items from the BBC stock archives. They just so happened to have a giant ant laying around.
And the cat was amazing. I loved the cat at the end of episode 1. It was just like staring them right in the face. Will they, won't they? What's going to happen to them? And then it suddenly went to the credits as well. Ramona, what did you think?
I enjoyed this story. On the science side of the story, the characters were very, very good. What got me was the size leak. That's what the Nuvians call it now. It's a size leak from the permanent artificial alternate dimension within the TARDIS. And that the TARDIS is not supposed to be in flight with the doors open, not even a crack. So we can call that a size leak. The creatures that we were introduced to, the worm, the ant, the bumblebee, the fly, they were all in states of either death or dying due to exposure to pesticide. And this episode basically showed us viewers the dangers inherent in the use of certain pesticides.
Because it's interesting. It's like it's interesting when Doctor Who takes on a story that is really relevant to what's happening in society and universally, how it's shaped and things. And there was a really clear message in the story about the concerns about the environment and health and what we're doing to our planet and on our produce and around us. But the thing that I thought was interesting was the man that gets shot.
Mr. Farrow.
Yeah, there's no comeuppance. It was like I wanted Doctor Who to resize and then do a citizen's arrest. It just didn't happen. But then maybe that's one of the things where he's not supposed to get involved in certain things. I don't know. But the matchbox was brilliant. I love the matchbox.
When he went inside the matchbox.
Yeah, it was so cool.
That was excellent. Yeah. I just love Ian. Ian is just amazing. He's doing all sorts in this episode. These episodes, and I think the way he comes across as well, trying to find out what's happening, he's going to go and rescue the Doctor and Susan as well, it was, and the bit in the drain, as that was brilliant.
Because Doctor Who, the Doctor, he's the first to suggest contacting the police, even attracting their attention by cheering them, but he has no wish to get involved. Yes, Ramona.
Something I wanted to mention was that Barbara wanted to mention to Ian that she had touched the grain that was contaminated with the pesticide in the beginning. But after she wiped her hands, she thought better of it. And I kind of thought of something called the wuss factor, that maybe she'd be seen as weak, or maybe an idiot for actually touching something that she was not supposed to touch. Because there was a scent, you could smell that chemical.
It would have been interesting if the Doctor had a celery to help her as an antidote. But that's not the case of Androzani, I know.
And I enjoyed the policeman and his wife Hilda as well. That relationship, and the police station was in the back of a British shop, if I remember correctly. And I keep thinking to myself, come on, guys, let's do a nice spin-off with those two. That would be, fighting crime back in the village shop of a police station. That would be so cool. I think they did really well, trying to get the telephone with Barbara, Ian, and Doctor as well.
And it's interesting what Ramona was saying about the TARDIS with the doors and the vortex being outside the TARDIS, but the console not even moving, because it wasn't bobbing up and down, but it was suggesting that it was, traveling backwards in normal space rather than traversing the vortex, which is interesting. It's nice to see they weren't scared to see outside the box, sort of thing, with a new take on space and time, and they really tried to represent.
If you're just traveling local, there's less universal hierarchical levels involved.
Yeah. Don't say that when you're drunk.
The viewing figures were very stable for these 3 episodes. They were Planet of the Giants was 8.4, Crisis was 8.4, and I think, Crisis 8.9 and Journey 8.4 for these 3 episodes.
Very healthy. And there's the first sign that there's a bathroom on board the TARDIS as well, when he tells them all to go and have a scrub.
Yes, that's true, actually. Yeah. Just randomly put that in there, don't they? Yeah. But we never say anything about the food machine or go and get something to eat in the food machine,
It would have been weird if he'd managed to bring everyone back, but they were all stuck as little tiny people, but they were back in their own time zone, but there's nothing you can do about it. And they have to live their lives out as little mice.
Oh, the science on that was just kicking me in the soft spots. Being that oxygen has to be able to permeate or go through the semi-permeable membranes of the lungs, but the oxygen molecules would be too big for the doctor and companions to breathe properly, and they would have died of asphyxiation about 3 steps out of the door of the TARDIS.
They never mentioned what you said about the opening of the doors in flight. For instance, in Stolen Earth, they open the doors in flight to see what's going on. And the same with Jodie Whittaker's era, they're in flight and they're observing space in flight as well. They don't.
Now they've got a proper set of shields.
The shields. I totally forgot about the shields.
Where they picked up the shields from was from the Stellar Extrapolator, the surfboard. That's where they picked up the shields from.
Now it all makes sense.
Because the pesticide worries around the time, there was a lot of worry around I can't pronounce it. Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Yeah, from the DDT, and what they were putting. There's a lot of birth defects caused by formaldehyde. Hello and welcome back to the Literary License podcast. Tonight we are discussing the Dalek invasion of Earth from 21st of November to 26th of December 1964, 6 episodes. We'll cut to the trailer and we'll be right back.
This is Synopsis for Doctor Who, The Daleks, Invasion of Earth, which aired from the 21st of November to the 26th of December, 1964. After the TARDIS materializes, the First Doctor, Susan Foreman, Ian Charleston, and Barbara Wright surmise that they have landed in London, but find it in ruins. The Doctor and Ian stumble across an army of Robomen as a Dalek rises from the River Thames. The Daleks take the Doctor and Ian on board their saucer. Resistance members explain that the Daleks invaded Earth in the aftermath of meteorite bombardment 10 years prior. Barbara and Susan are taken by refugees to a nearby shelter in an abandoned underground station where they meet resistant members who are planning an assault on the Daleks. The resistant leaders, paraplegic scientist Dortmund, has created a bomb to destroy the Daleks' outer casings. Susan and Barbara and the resistance team attack the Daleks using the bombs, but they are ineffective. David rescues the Doctor with Susan while Barbara gets separated. Ian hides as the saucer leaves for the Dalek mining operations. There, he escapes the Slither, a pet of the Black Dalek. He eventually hides in the mine and becomes trapped in a capsule filled with explosives. The Doctor, Susan, and David arrive at the cliffs overlooking the mine. The Doctor sends David and Susan to interfere with the Daleks' radio signals while he climbs into the mine. Dortmund sacrifices himself so that Barbara and Jenny can escape. They repair an old truck and head for the mining operations, but are reported to the Daleks while seeking shelter and sent to work. They are later brought before the Black Dalek and discover the Daleks are drilling through the Earth's crust to blow out its core, the intention being to replace the core with a device to plot the planet like a spaceship. The Daleks imprison Barbara and Jenny and set the explosive-filled capsule in position, but Ian jams the capsule halfway down the shaft. The Doctor frees Barbara and Jenny. While the radio signals damage, Barbara and the Doctor order the Roboman to destroy the Daleks, and the human slaves rebel. The bomb destroys the Daleks' fleet and causes a volcanic eruption in England. Back in London, David begs Susan to stay and marry him. Susan agonizes, declaring her love, but admitting that she must leave. The Doctor locks the TARDIS doors and bids Susan an emotional farewell, telling her that she deserves a normal life with David. He promises to return one day and sets the TARDIS in motion. Susan drops off her TARDIS keys and leaves with David, and Susan is no more. And that is the synopsis of The Daleks' Invasion of Earth, which aired 21st of November to 26th of December 1964. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Literary License podcast. Tonight we're discussing the Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Oh, it's getting me all emotional just thinking about it.
So, guys, the floor's open. What do you think?
I really enjoyed it. Again, it was really epic. It was just one of those, it's again 6 parts adventure, 6 parts people, another epic 6 parts. But this is, for me, it was like it reminded me of like a dystopian type of adventure. I don't know. And the way that it introduced the actual people, I've forgotten how to pronounce them. I've lost my words because I'm so emotional about what's going to happen in the series. It was Ramona, carry on until I remember the word for these people.
The Robomen.
Not the Robomen. It's with David and his crew. What do we call them?
Renegades.
Renegades.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. It was the amazing. Oops, are we allowed to swear? I'm sorry. Yeah. It was fantastic, honestly, from the get-go. Action-packed.
I loved seeing the Dalek come out of the water.
Oh, yes. That was awesome. I've never seen it come out of the water before.
Yeah. I feel sorry for the Dalek operator. He must have got soaked. But I think they found a Dalek, or I might be mistaken here. It's either that or it was Death to the Daleks in a quarry where someone found an old Dalek still stuck in a quarry. because they just left it there, like typical BBC, you know. Um, but when they're not burning the archives, they're just dumping Daleks. But,
I'm going to dump the Dalek in the field. Oh, dump the Dalek in the forest.
it's weird that they coincided with the TV movies that were made with Peter Cushing, which I saw that in the cinema last year, and it was back to back a double bill, and it was brilliant. I mean, I know the movie Daleks are movie ones, and they're cool, and they've got bigger eye sockets and stuff, but I sort of mirror it up. It's very similar to the serial. How about you, Ramona? What do you think?
I enjoyed this. For me, it was an exploration into human nature. On one side, we are building relationships with our renegades. And on the other side, a little later on in the show, it's actually a bit of backstabbing. The two ladies who took him in gave him food, gave him water, got some information from him, and then one went out and came back with a Dalek and a sack of food and some oranges. And so for me, it was an exploration into human nature.
What did you think of these new Daleks as well? Because they've got parabolic dishes on their backs, and
they still need energy to be powered, but instead of the basic static electricity coming through the floor, they get it through the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Ian noticed that with the Daleks as well. He actually said to the doctor, look at those Daleks. There's something different about them as well. And I remember him saying that to the doctor, and he goes, yes, dear boy, yes, you're absolutely right. You know,
because there's the whole race war as well, where the Daleks, you know, they are trying to be racially superior, and they have their slave groups. They didn't take over India for some reason; that was left out. But they wiped out all. They wiped out all the non-white races on Earth. I think my iconic scene is obviously because I've got the poster and it's of the Daleks going over London Bridge.
Yeah,
I love that. And I really liked it when they did. I think it was 30 years in the TARDIS, and they recreated it for the 30th anniversary of Doctor Who. I've got the poster. It was just really iconic. I know Verity Lambert. I know, is it Sidney Newman? He said no bug-eyed monsters, and what do you get? Bug-eyed monsters. But that was for me iconic. I love the UFO as well.
Oh yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Really good. It was really cool.
I loved the montage when the explosions were happening, and when that was epic. I mean, literally the music that went with it, and it was awesome. Oh, and by the way, Barbara was a vandal.
Yeah.
Did you see her drive that van?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I thought, blimey. And Ian, everyone else was really dirty. They were mucky, hair flying everywhere. Ian, hair smart, suit smart. There was no dirt on him at all. I don't know if any of you noticed that one.
Back to the explosions. One of the characters was actually handicapped or handy-capable.
Yeah.
And in our human relationships, we learn that even though you're handicapped, you're handy-capable in other ways. So he couldn't walk, he couldn't really get around, but he could create explosives, and lend a hand to the defeat of the Daleks.
Mm.
And he sacrificed himself as well at the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
But it was a relationship that was building for me between Susan and David as well. I mean, it was just like, it was lovely. It was really, really nice. It was just like set in the stone.
And that brings us to the actual sad part of the serial.
Right. When they were saying their goodbyes, Susan got a surprise.
And it's iconic because the Doctor's speech was used again in the Five Doctors at the beginning for the intro. And then obviously that's the last we saw of Susan. Well, until I met her in my old workplace a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
The next time Susan appears is in the Ronnie's adventure. The Ronnie in Time.
Dimensions in Time.
Dimension in Time.
Yeah. Wow, I totally forgot about that.
Where's my doctor?
Brilliant.
My grandfather.
Ian, Susan, where's the doctor? My doctor, the original.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So
I love that one.
So she's still lost, really. She's like, I know he's trying to, how do you call it? Flee the roost.
Flee the roost.
But then
empty the nest.
Ditching her for like the next 50 years. And not even sending a postcard. Or put a message in a bottle and send it out to space, as Bonnie Langford said.
Oh, Bonnie Langford. That was so cool. I mean,
I didn't see it coming. I didn't. It was a shock, and I didn't realize that because it was my first time watching the Dalek Invasion of Earth, so I wasn't. It was a shock. It was like it was a really good twist. I didn't see it coming on this or the speech. I thought that was from a completely different adventure.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of twist, how many times in early Doctor Who did we feature a twisted ankle?
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's true. And did you know he hurt his back in one of the episodes?
Yes.
As well. William Hartnell hurt his back, apparently.
All right.
And they had to, I think that's why he was sitting down most of the time or going on the ghost flow. Ramona.
So we see throughout the series that they had discovered the wardrobe, but not sensible shoes.
And she was walking with one shoe on at the end.
Well, she climbed up Death Mountain, didn't she? In Five Doctors in pointy shoes or boots.
Oh, she must have got new ones by then, maybe. Oh dear. That's it, the Resistance. That's what I was, the Renegade, the Resistance.
Resistance.
That's what I was looking for.
And did you notice that?
I did have that in my written essay, but blimey, I couldn't think of it.
Brilliant.
I've just seen that Susan's effects, including all the shoes, remain on the TARDIS when she's ditched on Earth. Her TARDIS key, the backup created by the Doctor in Marco Polo, is dropped in the dirt on 20th century Earth closure.
I thought it was going to go. Sorry, go, Craig.
He also, when he sent her out of the TARDIS, he's actually using the TARDIS speakers to talk to her because he's inside. So it's like a two-way radio he's got.
That's awesome.
So he definitely didn't
get to. Barbara and Ian didn't even get to say goodbye to Susan. That's what's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. But it should have had silent credits at the end of that. I would have thought, rather than when it's straight into the music. I think it should have been silent all the way through the end. I don't know. Bit like what they did for Andric,
But it wasn't a death. It was just a living.
It was just leaving. Or they could have done an EastEnders type moment and do a slow type song and then go into the actual ending. I don't know.
Right, just extend the first few notes out to
Yes.
let us know that it was a poignant moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It reminded me of the Second World War. Almost like when you mentioned dystopian, it did remind me of the Blitz in London. You know, that type of period. It was very well done the way they did the set designs, really realistic, and they spent a lot of money on the location and the studio stuff.
And
When I first saw that sign, it is forbidden to throw bodies in the water.
The water, yeah.
And they never noticed it.
In the Thames, I always thought back to the plague eras for the disposal of bodies. Even back then, they burned or buried the bodies instead of throwing the bodies into the Thames.
And they never saw it. They never saw it when they arrived, that, you know, billboard, did they? Until later on. It was like, come on, guys, there's a billboard right behind you saying about the bodies, and you're not even noticing it. What's happening here? I was like, when are they going to notice the body billboards? But they did manage to see it later on as well. And even when Barbara went to go and wet her hanky into the water as well. I thought she was.
Yeah, was that the same hanky that had the bug kill on it?
Remember in the last serial they were filming at Lime Grove. This time they moved to a more complex, like a western stretch of the Thames studio, and the Will I don't know if you saw in the documentary. I don't know where I saw this, but there was he was getting hampers from Fortnum and Mason's, which he didn't share apparently. Allegedly.
Well, I never. But it was such a brilliant six-parter, and it kept me watching it all the way through. I didn't stop not watching it.
Yeah, it didn't feel tiresome, or
no.
There wasn't any episodes where I thought, I didn't really need that episode, or the Daleks seem to exterminate more.
Yes,
sort of paralyzing and things like that.
I objected to the women being appointed cooks, or rather just handing out apples.
How dare they?
An apple a day.
Oh, and guess who was in it? Bernard Kay, a young Bernard Kay.
Yeah, Carl Tyler.
Yes, and later on, I only know Bernard Kay only because he went on to being in Russell T Davis's children's program called Century Falls much later in the early 90s.
You had Alan Judd as Dortmund. Graham Rigby was Larry Madison.
It was great, but I didn't get the
what about the viewing figures?
Yeah, no, I didn't get the viewing figures for that one, which is surprising because I usually do get the viewing figures for it.
It's got episode 1 was 11.4 million.
Oh wow!
By the episode 6, it was 12.4 million. Terry Nation wrote it, directed by Richard Martin.
Is it because they knew Susan was leaving? That's why people watched it because of that. Do you think, or was it a surprise?
Was it mentioned in the TV radio times?
It's weird. I don't know. I don't know if they had that knowledge back then.
They kept it secret, kept it a surprise all the way through, which they should do nowadays, but they don't.
Like the Earthshock surprise with the Cybermen. That would have been so cool to have seen that. So,
Another sad moment as well.
I know.
I still say that Adric lived.
I know
Yeah.
that. Oh God, if they bring Adric back, that would be brilliant.
Reason
That'd be
being is, why was he so concerned about getting his sums right? Adric is confident. He doesn't
Yeah.
worry about getting his sums right.
Hmm.
So my theory is that in Earth Shock, the Adric that died was a block transfer clone.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do we rate this series? I think 5 for me again, because it was Susan and it was her departure, and the amazing speech of William Hartnell as well at the end
Yeah.
really, got me. Yeah.
Agreed on the 5. It's
Yeah.
an excellent story all around and a good exploration into human nature.
Yeah. I agree. I'll give it 5 out of 5.
And then we
Who's
go.
going to do the speech? Someone needs to do the speech.
Shall I do the speech? I need to look on it from my phone. I need to find it first. Doctor speech.
Yes, one day I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no something or other. Go forward in all your beliefs. Prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. I miss my granddad.
I'm getting emotional all over again. Stop.
So that brings us to the end of the Dalek invasion of Earth. Do you guys have any socials that you want to plug? Any books, any socials?
Just that, keep reading if you can The Unwanted Guests, which is a werewolf novella. I've got the Sir Benedict Files out as well. Both it's on Kindle and paperback, and my Unexplained Anomalies series again on Kindle. Please give those a go, and please leave reviews as well, which will be wonderful. And all my social media is on there, all the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all under Marius Wright.
How about yourself, Ramona?
I have a group that I started a while ago for the 15th Doctor Who. It's the group, the 15th Doctor Who. And in the group, we discuss so far fashions and the interior of the TARDIS. But as he produces more photographic material and written material, we'll be getting into that.
That's on Facebook, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, cool. And myself, you can check out my artwork on my Etsy store, Craig's World. I've got Mario, Nintendo, I've got 80s cult films, metal prints all available. Go and check it out. And there's merchandise on craigsworld.org. So thank you guys for this evening, and it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
And it's good afternoon from me.
And I'll see you guys next time for the rescue.
Rescuers.
The rescue.
The rescue and the Romans.
And somebody could possibly be you as well.
Wow, we'll have to find out. Next time, guys, the plot thickens.
During all the years I've been taking care of you, you in return have been taking care of me.
Grandfather, I belong with you.
Not any longer, Susan. You're still my grandchild, and always will be. But now, you're a woman too. I want you to belong somewhere, to have roots of your own. With David, you'll be able to find those roots, and live normally like any woman should do. Believe me, my dear, your future lies with David, and not with a silly old buffer like me. One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. Goodbye, Susan. Goodbye, my dear.
I understood loneliness before I knew what it was. I saw the pills on your table for your unrequited love. I would be nothing without you holding me up. Now I'm strong enough for both of us, both of us, both of us, both of us. I am a giant. Stand up on my shoulders. Tell me what you see. 'Cause I am a giant. We'll be breaking boulders underneath our feet. I am a giant. Oh, I am a giant. Don't hide your emotion. You can throw down your guard and feed from the notion. We can be who we are. You taught me something, yeah. Freedom is ours. It was you taught me living is togetherness, togetherness, togetherness. I am a giant. Stand up on my shoulders. Tell me what you see. 'Cause I am a giant. We'll be breaking boulders underneath our feet. I am a giant. Oh, I am a giant.
I'm gonna shake, roll away in the dirt under me, yeah. I'm gonna shake, roll away in the dirt under me, yeah. I'm gonna shake, throw it away in the dirt, yeah. I'm gonna shake, throw it away in the dirt, yeah. I'm gonna shake, throw it away in the dirt, yeah. I'm gonna shake, throw it away in the dirt.